get to Coach Bud, y'all. The Milwaukee Bucks head coach, Coach Bud, or shall I say Mike Budenholzer? Because if the Bucks lose this series, I don't think he'll be having the coach in front of his name for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Another person.
He'll go somewhere, but yeah.
He'll go somewhere, but for a little while, I think we should take the coach off the name, because I do believe if the Bucks lose this series, listen, I'm not calling for nobody's job. I'm not trying to be a Karen, but somebody got to say it.
No,
if the Bucks lose this series, Mike Budenholzer needs to be fired.
According to you, we're media.
Reason.
We can call for people's jobs.
Yes, listen. When it comes to judging if a coach is going to get fired or not, I'd say I'm pretty good with my predictions. Would you say so, Murray?
Yeah, you. I mean, everybody was on top of it except me. But last year with Doc Rivers, first thing you texted me was Doc Rivers is getting fired.
Yes, who won't get fired after the big choke job like that?
Yeah, fair enough.
But okay, you mentioned how Kevin Durant was going off against PJ Tucker. He was going off against Drew Holiday, etc. Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton.
Yes.
Etc. Okay, PJ Tucker was in foul trouble, which is why he was in and out of the game. But like you said, Coach Bud did not make in-game adjustments. Now let's talk about these in-game adjustments. The NBA just released its 2021 all-team list. First team this, second team this, first team this, second team this. Well, on the Bucks team, you have two first-team all-defensive players, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm. I forgot. Thank you. I forgot about Drew Holiday.
But PJ Tucker was guarding Kevin Durant.
Yes.
Now, like I said, I'll give it to Coach Bud. In Game 4, PJ Tucker locked up KD on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. Okay? He had a hell of a game. But as I pointed out multiple times this season, Mike Budenholzer isn't very good at making in-game adjustments. And when it comes to the playoffs, you have to be a coach who can make in-game adjustments. Mm-hmm. That is literally how you win the playoffs. Make those in-game adjustments. For example, let's go back in the time machine in Game 1. The Bucks dominated in the paint against the Nets. The Bucks had 72 points in the paint.
Yeah.
Compared to Brooklyn's 48 points. And instead of making in-game adjustments to tailor your offense to said paint, they kept shooting threes. Now, granted, they're a good three-point shooting team. They average 14 threes a game in the regular season. They have Chris Middleton on their team. Man, shoot lights out on a good day. But if the threes are not going in and you are dominating in the paint, cater your offense to the paint. Okay, Game 2. I don't even know if they watch film. Same thing. Throwing up threes and they weren't going in. Once again, coach, this is on you. What you got going on? Game 2 was the embarrassing loss. Mm-hmm. I think Stephen A. called the Bucks loss in Game 2 a national embarrassment.
It was. Because that was the one that got beat by 40, right? Well, 39.
Yeah, it was pretty tough. Okay, so then we get to this Game 5 loss. PJ Tucker is in foul trouble, as I mentioned, and your boy KD is torching Chris Middleton and whoever switches on him. At what point do you put your team's best defender on Kevin Durant? Well,
I would think from the jump, but that's just me.
According to Coach Bud, never. Now, let's look at other coaches. Ty Lue.
Kawhi.
Say Luka was torching the Clippers, what did Ty Lue do? He
put the claw
Kawhi
on
Leonard on Luka, and didn't it affect Luka?
Yes, a lot.
That is what you call a coach making in-game adjustments in the playoffs so that your team can survive another day. Correct?
Correct.
Well, Coach Bud does not think about that. Now let's rewind back to last season when Jimmy Butler was torching the Bucks. A reporter asked Giannis why he wasn't guarding them, and he said, "What? I do whatever the coach asks me to do."
Good line. Good company line, Giannis.
Well, I just think that is the biggest. I use poop a lot, because I've been pooping your takes all day. But that is the biggest poop of the playoffs. You have to make in-game adjustments. We are at Game 5. Y'all down 3-2. They didn't have Kyrie Irving, and James Harden was on one leg. Put your best defender on Kevin Durant. That's all they got. Listen, Giannis at the end of the game was like, maybe we should have doubled him, blah, blah, blah. That's also another strategy.
Well, they tried to.
Double
it didn't
KD.
Work, but still, yeah.
But still, towards the end, when he's torching you, and the only other player who's scoring is Jeff Green, who, by the way, him and KD scored the first 30-something points of the game, just them two. Figure out your defensive scheme. That's what you got to do.
And actually, I'm glad you mentioned it. I forgot Drew Holiday was the defender that he is, because when he was in New Orleans, every time I saw him, I was like, all right, Drew Holiday is going to be on the best player. Because he is a legitimate defender in this league. Why was he not? Even if you would,
to his defense,
even if it wasn't
he was
Giannis.
also, to his defense, he was also in foul trouble.
That's fair. That's fair. But but at the beginning, even if it's not Giannis, if you put Drew Holiday on him, okay. You take I take Drew Holiday matched up against KD.
Yeah.
If that's my option.
This is prime example of a coach who can't make in-game adjustments. But let's get to one of my biggest reasons why Coach Bud should be fired. Mm-hmm. Kyrie Irving is out. James Harden is playing on one leg. Mm-hmm. One leg, y'all. What was his stat line? He had like 4 points or something like that. Crazy.
5 points.
5 points. He playing on one leg literally. Literally came back in the game because it literally is a desperation game.
Yes.
If this was a desperate, the Bucks were favorites to win this game. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, if James Harden is on one leg and James Harden is in the game late in the game, I feel like I've seen this. Listen, I watch tape. I watch basketball a lot, and I've seen this happen with a lot of different teams, and it's really, really, really simple. In the fourth quarter, there were two specific times in which James Harden had switched and was guarding Giannis Antetokounmpo. Two-time MVP, back-to-back MVP winner.
Would have put the ball on the court 2 times.
Thank you. One of those years, he won Defensive Player along with that MVP. But let's agree, Giannis's IQ, basketball IQ, just ain't that high. Let's agree. The man, listen, like James Harden said, it doesn't take skill to do what Giannis does.
He said that.
His basketball IQ is not that high. And I think we have all noticed it this series. Mm-hmm. Okay, but back to the James Harden, Giannis take. James Harden switches on to Giannis. So as a coach, you should. This is what I would do as a coach. I'm pretty sure this is what Ty Lue would do as a coach. This is what Doc Rivers would do as a coach. Rick Carlisle would probably do this as a coach as well. Any other coach would have done this. You specifically have Giannis go to a player in which James Harden is guarding so that you can make him switch. Then you tell Giannis to pound the paint. It is honestly that simple. Mm-hmm. It really is. How many times have we seen players go near or pass a player in which another, say, a weaker defender is guarding, and then they switch? Yeah. And then they take advantage of that switch.
That's why you switch. That's why you switch. That's why you run the pick and roll. That's why you switch. Jeez.
So, listen, Coach Bud not only did not recognize this, but he didn't even tell him. This wasn't even his game plan. Like, oh, James Harden's on one leg. Make him switch. Okay, but guess what? Wait, he didn't have to tell him. It was already happening. So let's get back to one of the plays I'm speaking of specifically. In the fourth quarter, 6'5", James Harden, that's his height, guys, 6'5", was guarding 6'11". 6'11" Giannis, and like you said Kevin Durant is 7 foot on a good day. I said the same thing about Giannis.
Yeah, I believe it.
6'5" James Harden was guarding 6'11" Giannis, both season league MVPs. Giannis has one more. Giannis started backing James Harden up, as you should. And for some reason, Giannis turned around and tried a jumper over James Harden and missed it. Not only that, but James Harden also looked at his teammate and said, I got this.
He did. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes, he sure did. You know how Ashley, we both know I'm not tall. We both know this, right? If I'm 6'11", and somebody on me is 6 inches shorter, and he calls off the defense, I'd be more mad. And not now, if I wasn't gonna dunk on you already, now I have to dunk on you, because how embarrassing is that to be 6 inches taller than somebody, 2-time MVP, and to have somebody that's 6 and the guy that's on you is 6 inches shorter and says, "Nah, I'm good. I got this." On one leg. On one leg. Again, one leg. Ashley, so I'm sorry. I have to say this again. If I'm Giannis and James Harden gets switched onto me, I don't care if I'm at the top of the key or at the corner. I'm hitting you with one move. It's going to be 2 times on the floor of the ball, and I'm yamming it. It's end of story, and we're going the other way. There was no reason to do anything else.
I think you would do what a lot of us would do, Mervin. But, Giannis doesn't have... he showed us he doesn't have the basketball IQ. He does not have the basketball IQ. He doesn't. So, granted, the Bucks are making stupid mistakes, and it's because they just don't have that level of thinking in which the players like a James Harden or LeBron James does. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but let's not even talk about Giannis. His IQ not up there. He should not have. That was a bad shot. That was a bad possession. You see James Harden on you, take the ball in. Mm-hmm. You have much more size than James Harden, and he has a bad hamstring, which he's playing through. But did Coach Bud make the in-game adjustment and say, hey, Giannis, when you get that switch, take advantage of it?
Nope.
Couldn't have said it. Couldn't have said it. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even address it, Mervin. I would not be surprised if he did not address it. And as far as the assistant coaches on the team, y'all must be waiting for Budenholzer to get about there so that y'all could
y'all think y'all could have been waiting or something.
Because somebody should have said, Giannis, let's get that switch and you take them. I'm sorry. This is just elementary to me. This is honestly basketball basics 101.
Yes.
The Bucks should have won this last game. Granted, I still think KD's performance outweighs the Bucks' loss.
Yes,
but the Bucks should have won that game, and bad coaching is the reason why they're down 3-2 this series. And because of the bad coaching, I think Coach Bud needs to leave. Not only does he need to get fired from this season, but think about the other seasons in which he,
last year's fraud performance against the Magic.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't want people to be on the unemployment line and stuff like that. This man got money.
He won't be on the unemployment line that long. He'll be okay.
True. He's a regular season coach. But the Bucks, listen, if y'all just signed Giannis to the Supermax deal, okay, if y'all want to move on to the next level, y'all need a new coach, a next level coach, a coach that's going to be in the game and look at the in-game performance and be like, all right, this is what's working for us right now. Let's do this. Even late in the game, Giannis still busting threes. Granted, he bust a couple of them that they needed. He did. He made one very clutch, but it was still a bad possession. He made a clutch three in the fourth quarter.
He did,
but it's still a bad possession. Giannis, don't shoot that. Go in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It was possessions in the fourth quarter in which there was no ball movement, and they were just shooting up shots. Granted, it's been working for y'all all game, and some of them went in. But when a game gets that close, come on now.
You can't be doing that. Can't do that.
You can't be doing that. You need to get in for the easy kill. And it just, Coach Bud needs to be fired. Y'all, this is literally, I talk about Frank Vogel's playoff in-game adjustments when it comes to lineups and stuff like that. That has absolutely nothing on what Coach Bud is doing with the Bucks right now. The reason why they are losing, obviously, because their team does not have the basketball IQ. I think, just like I said last year, why the Clippers lost, they don't have a leader on the team. Mm-hmm. I think the Bucks need a leader on the team who has the IQ to be like, hey, guys, we need to do this, Sadly, it's supposed to be the coach, but it's obviously not the coach's this situation. Obviously, this man has pooped it. He needs to lose his job. If he keeps his job if they lose and he keeps his job, I will be surprised. Do I still think the Bucks have a chance? I do. But with the bad coaching, I don't. Like, if they had a good coach, if they had a Doc Rivers, or if they had a Ty Lue, I talk about Doc Rivers all the time, but Doc Rivers can do a much better job with this team than Budenholzer's been doing. So, like, if y'all had a coach that could make in-game adjustments because the Nets are playing wounded, what did I say a few episodes ago? I said that if the Nets don't win, it's going to be because of injury. It's not going to be because
you said that.
Of the players on the court. Yep. It's going to be because of injury. James Harden playing with a bad hamstring. Kyrie got a hurt ankle. You mean to tell me you have been given this and you did not take advantage? When the Toronto Raptors won, you know why they won? Klay Thompson got hurt and they took advantage. Did they not?
Yep.
So...
As did Kevin Durant.
Yes. So you mean to tell me y'all could not take advantage of the situation in which only one of the star players was actually effective? And the only other person who was giving you reputable minutes was Jeff Green, and y'all could not win? You could not make adjustments? Do you deserve your job? Absolutely not. Next. Cut them. Next. Right. They lose. Spike Budenholzer need to go. And once he gets fired, y'all, this season, this is a reminder that I called it. Because terrible coaching. Terrible. Or as Charles Barkley say, terrible.